No, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell! How did I get into this nutshell? Look at the size of this bloody great big nutshell. What sort of shell has a nut like this? I mean, it's just crazy.
Hello there, and how in the heck are you? This is Al Weissman, and welcome to the latest and greatest edition of In a Nutshell. We have what I am sure will be an informative, I got a little frog in my throat, educational, and particularly entertaining show for you today. During the first hour of today's show, we will spend some time with an individual who is a composer, a lyricist, and a musician. I'm talking about Mike Aquino from Plainfield,
That's
Illinois.
right. Yeah.
We'll talk with him a bit, and I'm hopeful that we may be successful in persuading him to share some of his talent with us today. In the second hour of today's show, we will display some of the musical talents of past visitors to In a Nutshell. So I think we should really have a great show. I want to briefly mention our Facebook site at www.facebook.com/inanutshell with Al Weissman. I highly recommend that you check it out as a source of information for what guests we'll be visiting with on our future shows, what events are coming up. Each week, Dolores and I discreetly and occasionally post material there that you may find interesting, informative, or entertaining. There are places there for you to leave announcements about upcoming events that you or your group may be involved in. There's a place for comments, inquiries, requests, complaints, or whatever you may have about In a Nutshell, so check it out. Joe Molman was supposed to have joined us today as guest co-host, but unfortunately he's unable to do so. As you may know, Joe was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year and has been undergoing a course of chemotherapy treatments. Last week, after a treatment, he started exhibiting some pretty scary symptoms, and his wife took him back to the hospital. The doctors and medical personnel studied him inside out for the past week, and it turned out that he was apparently having a bad reaction to one of the substances that was included in the chemotherapy bundle he was being exposed to. That's a bummer, because the treatment he was receiving was apparently pretty well working for him in terms of reducing the cancer. So now they'll have to change that chemotherapy bundle, and Joe and his family are hoping that the new combination will work as well. They seem to have the reaction under control, and Joe expects to be discharged from the hospital tonight or tomorrow. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Joe, we love you, man, and hope you'll be back in action ASAP. So now, without further delay, I'd like to introduce today's visitor to In a Nutshell, namely Mike Aquino. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Great, Alan. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Please briefly tell your audience something about yourself.
I am a guitar player, musician for hire. I play with probably 8 bands throughout the Chicagoland area. Some of them out of Denver, some of them out of Nashville, but mostly out of Chicago. So I'm in and around everywhere all the time.
Cool. Can I ask you to do a tune or two for us?
Absolutely.
Would you please?
Yeah, okay, here we go. This one's called Yes Ma'am, because I like this song.
Alrighty.
Got myself in a real big jam, not sure what to do. I got a date on Friday night down at the diner with Brenda Lou. See, we've been kicking around for 3 years now. She's gonna ask if she can take my name. Mama chimed in, said, son, don't worry none. I know exactly what you say. All you say is yes, ma'am. Those 2 words will get you more than a holding hands. Now I'm always saying yes, ma'am. Oh, man, mama, should you teach me well? 5 years along and 2 wives back, I found myself in this old coffee shop, sipping some brew and nursing my new tattoo with a girl in a red tube top. She says I've got one too, but honey, it's not in view, at least not till the sun goes down. And if you're inclined, I'd like to show you mine. You bet I knew just what to do. I was saying yes, ma'am. Those 2 words will get you more than a holding hands. I was always saying yes, ma'am. Oh, man, mama, should you teach me well? I never did good in school, but as you can see, this was always one lesson followed to the T. You can dress it up as fancy with some roses and wine, but it always comes down to that same old line. I got myself in a real big jam, and it involves a judge, a lawyer, and me. Well, how could I know that those two little words would give me 3 more mouths to feed? So with my head and my hands on the witness stand, testifying to the gallery, say, listen up, boys, those words ain't toys. Can't you see what they've done to me? So don't go saying yes, ma'am. Those 2 words will give you more than a man can stand. I was always saying yes, ma'am. Oh, man, mama sure did teach me well. I was always saying yes, ma'am. Oh, man, mama sure did teach me well. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very, very nice.
That's a fun song, isn't it?
That is cool. I love that song. Your bio and that last song discloses that you are a country boy at heart.
Yes, I am.
How did that come about?
Well, it came about probably somewhere in the early 90s is when I mean, my dad used to listen to a lot of country music when I was growing up.
So you come by it honestly, then?
Yeah, I come by it honestly. I mean, I wasn't playing country music when I was in my early teens and learning how to play the guitar. I mean, I grew up playing Stevie Ray Vaughan and Iron Maiden.
Well, didn't you tell me before that you were actually born in the South, more or less?
I was born in Newport News, Virginia. My dad was stationed at Fort Monroe.
Okay.
But
so it's in your DNA.
Yeah, both of my parents are from the Chicagoland area. So after my dad was in the Army, they moved back to Wheaton, Illinois. So I grew up there, which I guess back then when I was growing up was kind of the sticks a little bit.
Sure.
There wasn't too much out there. So
my wife is actually from that area, too.
Really? Yeah. Whereabouts?
I couldn't tell you offhand, but it's not too far from Wheaton.
Okay.
But now I understand that you started playing guitar at the age of 8?
I got my first guitar when I was 8. Contradictory to what most people would think is I was inspired to just want to play guitar. I believe the actual story is one Christmas my brother was getting a snare drum because he wanted to play drums. And I saw a guitar in the window and I said, I want that. But it stuck.
So that started a career. That's
right. Yeah.
Very cool. So did you start taking lessons at that tender age, or did that come later?
I did take lessons. Ever? I took lessons from about 8 till 10, and then it got in the way of baseball.
Naturally.
But even when I stopped taking lessons, I still played. I still learned stuff off records and just tried to figure out everything they were doing on the records.
Okay.
And that, to me, was a better education than anything else. I mean, I had a great teacher, but jumping in with both feet and learning how to do it was the way to go.
Sure. And when you were in elementary school, were you in any of the choirs or the bands or anything like that?
I didn't do anything in elementary school. Nothing really hit till high school.
Okay.
And I had bands. I was in bands when I was in high school, but nothing like a concert band or anything like that. I was in high school proper. I was a choir boy.
Okay.
I sang in choirs.
Okay, so cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
I consider that to be educational experience.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun.
But you were in private bands outside of school?
Yeah, I had a couple different bands with my brother who kept playing after he got his snare drum and played drums, and he got to be very, very good. So I teamed up with him and a bunch of his buddies. He's about 3 years older than me, so
okay.
We played a lot of parties, and I started making money playing when I was 16. So that's kind of when doing music for a living crept in.
All right, this is in the Wheaton area.
This is around the Wheaton area, yeah, Wheaton, Naperville area. Okay. When I played around.
All right, and then you went to college. Where'd you go to college?
I started out at College DuPage. I did an Associate of the Arts degree there. That's where I got my first taste of some serious music education with music theory and ear training and piano classes and music history, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and the teachers that I had were phenomenal. It's just
made me want to pursue it even more. And I ended up transferring from COD after I got my associate's degree to Roosevelt University downtown, Chicago Musical College. And I finished up what would be considered a double major in music education and jazz performance.
Cool.
So it was a lot of fun.
Now, I've had other guests on the show that related that as music education students, they had to become at least somewhat familiar with a variety of instruments. Do you play any other instruments besides the guitar?
Well, do I play them well? No. I play enough piano to sit down and write a song if I wanted to write something on piano.
That's something.
I can't play drums to save my life, and I got good at the trumpet, but I let that go as soon as classes were done.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I had to go through all of that, learning all of the instruments and learning how to play them at a basic level.
Sure.
Very interesting.
This has nothing to do with your education, but it is alleged that you have a gorgeous daughter.
Oh, she is my sunshine. She is absolutely beautiful. Her name is Mackenzie. She's 6 years old, and she is just the most precious thing in the world. I love seeing her all the time.
Is she listening, do you think?
Well, she's probably in school right now.
Okay.
So she better be.
All right.
you know those laws for kindergarten, they better make sure they're there.
I see you post pictures of her online all the time, which is kind of cool.
We have fun. We have our daddy-daughter weekends, and it's a blast.
Sure. You think you'd play another tune for us?
I can definitely play another song.
Please do so.
Let's see. Let's go with the song off a song called Panama. Let's go with that one. Here we go.
Faded blue sweater and some worn out hand-me-down jeans is all she packed when she left town. She's headed for the coast, chasing the ghost of what it was like when she was 18. She feels like love has passed her by. When she steps out on that beach, she shines for every boy to see. This beautiful angel is here to stay, 'cause she ain't ever going back to living her life in that little old town. She's setting them up and shooting them down. She's happy this way, just living and loving easy, just leaving behind what she never saw, for life and paying them all. He's been through 6 jobs in just as many years. Never got to play his cards, thinking maybe it's time for a change of scene. Buys a one-way ticket to another dream, first class all the way to paradise. And when he steps off of the plane, feels like a young boy again, like everything is fresh and new, 'cause he ain't ever going back to living his life in that little old town. Well, he's setting them up and shooting them down. What you say, he's happy this way, just living and loving easy, he's leaving behind what he never saw, setting them up, she's shooting them down. It don't matter what you say, they're happy this way. Just living in love and easy, leaving behind what they never saw. No regret, no guilt, and leaving it all for life and paying them all. Paying them all. Paying them all.
Thank you. That's my little boy meets girl song.
That's cool. Really nice.
Thank you.
I love the way you do it.
Appreciate that.
Now, according to the bio material that I had an opportunity to take a look at, you hooked up with Jim Peterick shortly after you graduated from college?
Yeah, it wasn't long after I graduated college, maybe a year or so. I hooked up through a common friend that we both had. Quick little meeting, and I guess through some prying, he agreed to have me. He was recording his first World Stage disc. Jim Peterick and World Stage, and from prying, I think he finally agreed to have me come in and cut lead guitar on one song, which led to 7 songs of the 14 songs on the record, which led to I've been his guitar player since about 1998, I want to say. Wow. 98, 99, yeah. So.
Well, that's pretty cool for a guy who's just out of college.
It was very cool. It's very the best part about it is getting to see all those songs that he wrote. And I admit, I was growing up as a kid, and you're trying to learn how to play guitar, and you're playing air guitar to these songs you hear on the radio, and lo and behold, they're songs he wrote. And then now you're playing with them with the artist that wrote them, and even not just the artist that wrote them, but the artist that made him famous if it wasn't him. And it's amazing.
I bet it was. What is Jim Peterick's World Stage Studio?
Jim Peterick's World Stage Studio that's Jim's studio. He's got a couple studios in his house. That's his home base where we record a lot of stuff out of. All the stuff that I'm on, from any artist that he's working with to bands that we've had together that are signed over in Europe, everything gets recorded out of there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Must be a pretty impressive studio.
It's really nice. He's got a great engineer, Larry Millis, who also acts as a co-producer, and it's just a lot of fun. It's the whole vibe there now. We've all been there long enough. It's like a little family. It's really great.
That's great.
It's not even like going to work. You showing up, and you don't even know what you're going to do. You're going to do something. So,
now you also mentioned Frontiers recording artist.
Frontiers record label is the record label out of Italy. That one of the bands I'm in with Jim is Pride of Lions, and we're signed to that record label in Italy.
I see.
They kind of Frontiers takes on a lot of the 80s rock bands that were around here all through the 80s, and they still record for that label. We don't go to Europe and record, but the label is based out of Europe. And because a lot of the 80s music is still really, really, really big on a grand scale in Europe.
I'm sure.
I've played over there for 40,000 people, and it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Walking through an airport and having people stop you to get an autograph. You're like, huh?
Very cool.
And usually it's on a CD that I don't even remember recording on. And I'm like, hey, can you send that to me on my email?
Very cool. And do you think you could play us another tune?
I can definitely do you another song. I'm going to do a song that hopefully is going to be on another CD I'm going to record sometime soon. But this one is one of my favorite songs. It's called When You Find Her.
Cool.
Somebody, please give me a hand. I'm on the edge of being a broken man, trying to find the one who knows how to make me right. But I'm sinking fast. She always out of sight. Now I'm the one down on my bended knee, praying to God that she won't set me free. 'Cause not too long ago it was the other way around. So don't you let me down. Can't you see I need you now? And if you see her running anywhere across this land, she'll be dressed up like an angel, and my heart is in her hand. She's the one, by her side I'll always be. And when you find her, you'll probably find me. There'll never be another makes me feel the way you do. Those are the words she said, and I know they're oh so true. 'Cause I was never much of anything when she found me on the ground. She made me her own, and on her head I placed a crown. And if you see her running anywhere across this land, she'll be dressed up like an angel, and my heart is in her hand. She's the one, and by her side I'll always be. And when you find her, you'll probably find me in an old scrapbook, in a picture somebody took, on the radio singing a song, saying, baby, won't you please come home? I send a smile and a kiss so she's not alone. No, she's never alone. And if you see her running anywhere across this land, she'll be dressed up like an angel, and my heart is in her hands. She's the one, by her side I'll always be. And when you find her, you'll probably find me. 'Cause that's where I'll be.
Nice.
Thank you very much. That's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, I must say.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
So far, Scott May was on the show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, my buddy Scotty.
Now you're here, and it seems that little by little, each of the members or guys that work with Ides of March is appearing one by one.
That's excellent.
And in a nutshell, so we got to get the rest of them in here one by one.
Yeah, you got to get them in here. I'll put a good word in. I'll get him in here. I'll say, hey, guys, you got to get up here. This is a good time.
Cool. Very cool. Do you happen to know Bill Sinar?
I was just working with Billy Sinar last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he mentioned that he worked on one of the songs on Scott's new album.
Yeah, yes, I believe he did work on at least one, maybe a little more than that on Scott's album. But yeah, I just saw Billy at Peterix last week. We were recording some stuff. Yeah,
because he was on In a Nutshell just about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah,
awesome.
With Classical Blast.
Okay, yes, that's right.
And they are a lot of fun too.
They are a lot of fun.
I love the violin and the cello, though. So, I mean, nothing against the guitar. Believe me, I love the guitar. But
the violin and the cello are two of the most human-like, especially the cello, human-like sounds there are. I love the cello. It's an absolutely amazing instrument.
There's a certain sweetness to that sound that drives me crazy.
It didn't sound all that sweet when I tried to play it.
A little honesty there.
True. Hey, man.
Now, I understand that you do session work with other groups besides Peterix groups.
Yeah, I get called into. I get called from a lot of different bands. Some stuff that Jim is producing, other stuff through Larry Millis. I get called in to do play guitar on, additional guitar on, or music direct some stuff. There's a band out of St. Charles area, country band that I do a lot of background vocals for them.
Okay. They
got good guitar players. I got enough guitar players. They don't really need me to do that.
Okay.
So, but I usually come in and do some background vocals for them. It's a band called Six Strings Crossing.
Okay.
Really great originals. So.
And that's where that choir experience comes in really handy.
You know, the choir experience does come in, being able to hear all the different parts that aren't there yet and start stacking them up on top of each other.
Sure.
It does come in. I've even on a gig, believe it or not, I've had to play a gig where we were joined on stage by the Chicago Sinfonetta, and I actually had to conduct them.
Wow.
On the spot. And it was like, I'm like, okay, let's bring back conducting 1 and conducting 2.
Sure.
So
cool.
It was fun. It still pays off. I wouldn't have changed it for anything in the world.
Very, very cool. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break? We have to give the supporters of this show and of this station an opportunity to exercise their rights of commercial-free speech.
And those are the most important ones. If they are the supporters, they're the ones that get first pick.
I'm going to go pee. You might take this opportunity to make a sandwich or yell at the kids or let the dog out or whatever. In any event, we'll be back in just about 3 minutes, so don't touch that dial.